Hey, what's going on, everybody? So what we're working on today is creating a E1.31 to DMX or Wi-Fi to DMX controller. So I have a DMX moving head that I want controlled over Wi-Fi, and this is going to be for my Christmas light display. I have a couple other videos posted on how to use a Wemos to control WS 2011 2812 pixels over Wi-Fi. I'll link that video below. So what this one's going to be doing today is using a Wemos Mini. It's going to be using an RS-45, which has a Max 485 chip in it, to convert it over to from serial to DMX, and then a Wemos Shield, a Wemos Mini Shield, and a regulator. So the way this works, your PC connects to a switch. Your switch is connected to an access point. Your PC will output DMX data, and this doesn't necessarily have to be a PC. It could be a DMX console or something that outputs a DMX signal. In my case, I'm using Xlights and Vixen. So my PC will output DMX data. It will send it through the switch up to a Wi-Fi access point or router. It'll send it over Wi-Fi to the Wemos, which is essentially a receiver, and then it'll output DMX data to whatever DMX device that I'd like. So DMX is nice because you can control very specific attributes of a device using 0 to 255 signal over a particular channel. So it could just be like a LED light pod, an RGB LED light pod. It could be a DMX moving head with gobos, a wide variety of things you can control with it. Fog machines and lasers and all kinds of stuff. So we'll take a look at the circuitry. So this is what it's going to look like. We have a Wemos Mini, which is this guy right here. Then we have a RS-45 adapter or converter. So off of the Wemos, our 5 volt and ground are going to tie to a rail for 5 volt and ground. This is going to be our 12 volt input because my DMX moving head has a 12 volt auxiliary port already in it, so I'm just going to utilize that. One thing I forgot to put on the schematic is this little converter. So this here takes 12 volts, converts it down to 5 volts, which is what my Wemos runs off of, as well as the RS-45 converter. So 5 volt and ground are going to connect to the 5 volt and ground rails. Pin D3 on the Wemos is going to connect over to the DE pin or DI pin on the RS-45 adapter, and then we're going to apply power and ground to the adapter, and then out of these two screw terminals are going to give us our data positive and data negative that will come over to our DMX output. Originally I was going to wire this to a female end of the DMX cable and just plug it into the back of the moving head, but I opted to miniaturize this using a Wemos Mini instead of using a full-size Wemos D1, so that I can kind of pack all this up and put it inside the moving head for a little cleaner installation. So let me bring out soldering iron. We'll get all this stuff soldered up, and then we'll go over its basic operation. I'll post a video below on how to load the firmware. This is going to be using the Espixelstick firmware in serial mode, and I may end up including it in this video on how to flash the firmware to it, and then we'll get it installed in the DMX moving head, and we'll test it out and we'll see how it all works. We'll be right back. Okay, so after a fair bit of soldering and finagling this thing, I finally got it all put together. So this is a Wemos Mini Shield. This is the RS-45 converter that you can get off Amazon, and I'll put links to all these parts down below. And then this is a little half amp regulator that takes in the 12 volt, knocks it down to 5 volt, which powers the Wemos and the RS-45 chip. So the way I have mine set up, and this is again to make it as small as possible, the yellow wire running along here is the 5 volt, so it comes out of the output regulator over to the 5 volt pin of the Wemos. The red is ground, coming from a common ground from the power input here and then to the ground pin of the Wemos. And then on the opposite side, I soldered in the 4 pins on one side of the RS-45 board and then I clip the other side so that I can solder the wires in from the top up here. So these wires here, the far right pin, the DI, kind of snakes its way over, goes over to D3 on the Wemos, and then the DE snakes its way around, comes over here and attaches to the 5-volt pin. So now with all this all built, what it enables me to do, make sure I get my polarity right, I can simply attach it to the Wemos, and then this is the completed package. This will be my 12-volt input coming from an auxiliary on the DMX board, and then the two terminal, the block up here with the two pins on it, this will be my data positive and data negative going out to my DMX moving head. So that's it for this video. I'll put a link to all the items so you can buy them. I'll put a link down below to all the items in this video so that you can purchase everything. And then I will put this in installing the DMX head in the next video, which I'll also post below once it's posted. So that's it for this video. If you have any questions, please post them below. If not, we'll see you next time.